Hello students, welcome to Truneek Informatics. My name is Sakshi. I will be teaching you science. This is for class 9, chapter 5, the fundamental unit of life. So let's start with the topic. We are going to discuss introduction of cell discovery, cell theory, cell shape and size, cell membrane and cell wall, prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, cell organelles and their function, diffusion and osmosis, types of solution, cell plays in different type of solution, and difference between plant and animal cell. So let's start. Introduction of the cell. The body of all organism, let it be microscopic or macroscopic, but body of all is made up of tiny units called cell. So we all are made up of what? We all are made up of cells. How is the body organized? The body organization of every individual is how? So this is like when we talk about the body organization of human is like cell will make tissue, tissue will make organ, organ will make organ system, and organ system will make an organism. Okay? Organization of life. Cell is what? Cell is the smallest unit that carry out life activities. What is tissue? Tissue are group of cells working together to perform specific function. Organ, group of tissues working together to perform specific job. An organ system, group of organs when working together to perform specific job, and then the organism is forming. For example, I can give you an example like cell of kidney is known as neuron. Will making the tissue of the neurons, group of neurons will make the tissues of neuron. Organ will be kidney. Organ system will be excretory system, and organism will be you or me, right? We can say that cell is the structure and function unit of every living organism capable of independent existence. So we can say this, that cell is structural and functional unit of every living organism, which is capable of independent existence, that can be independently live, survive. Cell will be the structure and functional unit of that. Either it's unicellular or multicellular. Discovery of cell. It was discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. So who discovered the cell? It was discovered by a scientist named Robert Hooke. In which year? 1665. While examining a thin slice of cork under a microscope, he observed honeycomb-like structures and called these compartments as cells. So when he was observing the cork, okay, examining the thin slice of cork that comes from back of the tree, he observed honeycomb-like structures and called these compartments as cells. Okay, because they were like small compartments, as you can see in the figure. Okay, so this is the cork comes from the back of the tree, that is the dead part of the tree, and this is how the cells were looking like. Okay, so from here we can make a conclusion that the cell which was observed by Robert Hooke were dead cells. Okay, so Robert Brown discovered nucleus in the cell in 1831. Robert Brown was a scientist who discovered nucleus. Nucleus is also known as brain of the cell. It is present in the center of the cell and it is known as brain of the cell. Purkinje coined the term protoplasm. Protoplasm is the living content of the cell or the fluid which is living. So it includes the cytoplasm plus the nucleoplasm. You can say cytoplasm plus nucleoplasm equals to protoplasm. The invention of microscope helped in discovery of cell. The first simple microscope was discovered by Anton Van Leeuwenhoek in 1674. So who discovered the simple microscope? Anton Van Leeuwenhoek, or you can simply say Leeuwenhoek in 1674 discovered the first simple microscope. Now this is microscope. What is microscope? It is an instrument to observe the cell. Okay, as you can see, this is an eyepiece where you will keep your eye. This is the arm where you will hold it. Okay, this is the rat stop stage clips where you will put the slide. Okay, and this is the coarse focus while which you will focus to see it. Right, this is a revolving nose piece, and this is an object. It revolves. It's an objective lens. This is a stage, and when we come, this is a condenser, this is an illuminator, and this is the base of the microscope. Fine. Cell theory. It was given by Schleiden and Schwann in 1838 and was further extended by Virchow in 1855. The cell theory was, it states that all plants and animals are composed of cells. All plants and animals are composed of what? They are composed of cells, and the cells is the basic unit of life. And all cells arise from pre-existing cells. Every organism starts life as a single cell. Okay, for example, how we were created: male and female gamete, that is sperm and ovum, got fused together and form a zygote. The process is known as fertilization, right? And that zygote is a single cell zygote, and from zygote there will be 2 cell state, then 4 cell state, then 8 cell state, then there will be a blastula, then an embryo, then a fetus, then a baby after 9 months. This is how we all are born, right? Viruses and bacteria are exceptional to cell theory. Viruses cannot multiply outside living system and do not perform any life activities. So viruses and cannot multiply outside living system and do not perform any life activities. We will talk about cell shape, size and number. Cell shape. The shape of cell depends upon the function it performs. The shape of cell may vary, may change or fixed. Example variable shapes, WBC and amoeba. Shape of cells can be spherical, eggs of many animals. Spindle shape like muscle cells. Elongated like nerve cell. You must have seen nerve cell. It looks like a branch cell and it looks like a star also. Kidney shape like stomata. Discoid oval shape like RBCs, and cuboidal germ cells. Okay, so these are the shape of the cells we are having. So when we talk about the shapes of the cell, so you can see this cell is the spherical cell, this is cuboidal, this is discoid, RBCs, red blood cells. Elongated, that I told you that nerve cell looks elongated and branched also, it looks like a star also, so you can see here. And kidney shaped stomata. And when we talk about spindle shape, this is smooth muscle cells, they looks like spindle shaped cells. Fine. Cell size. Size of cells vary. Smallest cell is microplasma, or you can also say PPLO. Full form of PPLO is pleuropneumonia like organism. Pneumonia also stands with P. P is silent. Okay. The largest cell is ostrich. Cell number. Types of organisms on the basis of number of cells: non-cellular organisms, unicellular organisms, and multicellular organisms. Unicellular means one, uni means one, multi means multiple. Non-cellular organism. These are those organisms which do not contain any cell in their body organization. For example, virus. You know, we all are suffering from coronavirus, right? We are suffering from this pandemic altogether. Few are having that virus, few are not having that virus, but we all are actually being affected by this coronavirus because we are not going to schools, we cannot go to malls, we cannot go to a cinema hall, we cannot do our normal work which we were doing before, right? So this virus is what? This is a highly communicable virus, and it is getting affected, people are getting affected through it because it is getting transmitted from one person to another very easily. And when it is getting transmitted, it is reproducing inside that host body and producing the same viruses, right? So viruses are dead when it is outside the body of the living organism. It gets alive as soon as it reach inside, and living organism. Then unicellular, it is single cell organism and all function performed by single cell. Lifespan is short, example amoeba and paramecia. Okay, so in this, the lifespan is very short. Okay, lifespan can be short, and this amoeba is what? It's a unicellular organism. It performs all the function through one single cell. It's like we are multicellular. We have so many of organs inside our body. We have respiratory organ, we have excretory organ, we have a brain, we have a circulatory organ. We have so many organs inside our body. But what about unicellular organism? They do all the activities from one single cell. Multicellular organisms, it consists of large number of cells. Different cell perform different function and its lifespan is long. Example, human, trees, animals, etc. Components of the cell. Three basic components of the cell are plasma membrane, cell membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm. Fine. So these are the three basic components of cell. Plasma membrane, which is also known as cell membrane, which is present outside the cell. Then there is a nucleus, which is brain of the cell, and then there is a cytoplasm. Fine. Plasma membrane. It is also called cell membrane. It is the outermost covering of each cell which separates the cytoplasm from its surrounding. Plasma membrane is also known as cell membrane. It is a semi-permeable membrane and it has cytoplasm which acts like a matrix. Okay, it is made up of protein and lipids found in plant as well as animal cell. Selectively permeable, as I already told you, it will allow few materials to go inside, few materials to come outside. So it also allows the entry and exit of some material in and out of the cell. It is flexible, can be folded, broken and reunited. Fine. So we will talk about functions of plasma membrane. It regulates the movement of molecules inside and outside the cell. As I told you, it's a semi-permeable membrane. It will allow few components to come inside, few to go outside accordingly, and it gives a definite shape to the cell. Transport across the membrane. Impermeable substances do not pass through the membrane. Permeable, both solute and solvent can pass through. Semi-permeable, membrane permeable to solvent but prevent solutes passage. This is known as semi-permeable membrane. Solvent will be permeable but solute will be not permeable. Selectively permeable, if membrane allows the passage of solvent and some selected solutes. Movement of substances through plasma membrane. Substances move in and out of the cell by diffusion, mainly gases, and osmosis, water. What is diffusion? It is a spontaneous movement of substances, that is solid, liquid and gas, from higher concentration region to the lower concentration region. Osmosis is also a spontaneous movement of water molecules from high concentration region to the low concentration region through a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, so this is what diffusion and osmosis are. So what happens when we put in solution of sugar or salt in water? So type of solution on the basis of concentration. It is hypertonic, isotonic and hypotonic solution. So this is hypertonic, isotonic and hypotonic solution. It's a kind of tabular form which is given in front of you. In first we have hypertonic, then isotonic, then hypotonic. Hypertonic solution, higher solute is outside, and isotonic, there is equal solute, both the end, outside also, inside also. Hypotonic, higher solution inside. Then what will happen? Higher water inside, equal water, higher water outside. Water move out, no net movement, water moves in. Cell will shrink, it will be normal, cell will swell up. Okay, as you can see in the figures. Fine. See, hypertonic cell is shrinking, isotonic cell is normal, and hypertonic cell is becoming swallow. Cell wall. It is found in plant cell in addition to the plasma membrane. Why cell wall is present in plant cell? The reason is plants are immovable. They stay outside. Okay, we can come inside whenever it is raining, whenever there is a lot of heat outside, right? We can come inside and take shelter of our houses. But what about plants? Cell wall is actually putting a layer, okay, of protection through the cell, okay, of plant cell, and it is there because cell lives in harsh environment, harsh climatic conditions. Fine. So it is found in plant cell in addition to plasma membrane. The cell wall lies outside the plasma membrane. The plant cell wall is composed of cellulose. It is the phenomena in which a living plant cell loses water through osmosis, and as a result there is a shrinkage of the cell. Fine. Function of cell wall. It provides shape to the cell. It provides mechanical strength to the plants, protect against pathogen and mechanical injury. Cell wall and plasma membrane. Occur in plant cell, occur in plants and animal cell. Lies on the outside of the cell, lies on outside of the animal cell, inside of the plant cell, and after the cell wall. Rigid and thick, flexible and thin, permeable, selectively permeable. Forms of cellulose, forms of lipids and proteins. Provides protection and strength to the cell. It regulates movement of the molecules inside and outside the cell. Fine. Nucleus. It was discovered by Robert Brown. It is also called brain of the cell. It is darkly stained structure usually present in the center of the cell. It contains hereditary information that is transferred from one generation to the next generation. Like we look like our parents, somewhat like a mother, somewhat like a father. Why? Because we have their genes inside the body, which is coming through DNA, and DNA is coming through the chromosomes, and chromosomes are coming through the nucleus. What is nucleus made up of? Nuclear membrane, nucleoplasm, nucleolus. Nuclear membrane is doubly covered membrane which separate the nucleus from the cytoplasm. It has pores which allow the exchange of material between nucleus and cytoplasm. Nucleoplasm is a fluid colorless found inside the nucleus. It has nucleolus also, and chromatin also. Nucleolus is a dense spherical body found inside the nucleus, and it is rich in RNA and protein. This is the structure of nucleus. This is nuclear membrane. This is nucleoplasm. This is nucleolus. These are the pores through which substances go and come outside the nucleus. And this is chromatin fibers which carry chromosome, which carry DNA, which carry gene. Chromosomes. Chromosomes are thread-like structure which are formed by the condensation, and chromatin during cell division are called chromosomes. These are chromosomes composed of the DNA and protein. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. A chromosome consists of two similar threads called chromatids. The two chromatids are attached at the center of the centromere, and chromosomes are also referred as hereditary vehicles. DNA is called the hereditary material. Prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Pro means primary, karyo means nucleus, eu means true, karyo means nucleus. So prokaryotes were the first organism which came on earth. Okay, all the bacteria are prokaryotes. Are the organisms which lack nuclear membrane. They do not have membrane bound cell organelles. Example, bacteria and cyanobacteria. Eukaryotes are the organisms which have nuclear membrane. They have membrane bound cell organelles like plants and animals and fungi. Cytoplasm, it's a fluid contained inside the plasma membrane. It is mainly composed of water, salts and protein. In this liquid, the organelles float. The organelles may be bounded by membrane as eukaryotic, but prokaryotes lack membrane bound organelles. Virus lack cytoplasm as well as membrane. Cytoplasm, you can say like this, this room is a plant cell, the wall is the cell wall, and the floor is the matrix, that is the cytoplasm of the room, right? Cell organelles, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, mitochondria, plastids and vacuoles. So these all are the cell organelles we were talking about. The nucleus is the organelle that consists of cells, DNA and control center of the cell. Ribosome, the organelle in which amino acids are hooked together to make protein. So ribosomes are responsible for the protein synthesis. Okay, endoplasmic reticulum makes the organelle. Lipids break down drugs, other substances, and packages protein for Golgi complex. So endoplasmic reticulum is also known as packaging unit of the cell, and it is also known as skeletal system of the cell because it protects the nucleus as if the brain is protected by the skull in our body. Mitochondria, the organelle that breaks down food molecules to make ATP. So mitochondria is also known as powerhouse of the cell. Chloroplast, the organelle that is used in energy of sunlight to make food. So chloroplasts are basically responsible for photosynthesis. It also carry the green pigment known as chlorophyll, and they are only present in plant cell because plants are autotrophic. They make their food themselves. We don't make our food ourselves. We are heterotrophic. We are dependent on other sources for our food. Golgi complex, the organelle that process and transport proteins and other materials out of the cell. Large central vacuole. Vacuoles are large in plants because plants need food to store for storing. Animals doesn't need food for storing because we are heterotrophic. Lysosome, the organelle that digests food particles, waste, cells, parts, and foreign invaders are the lysosomes. Okay, they are also known as suicide bags of the cell. Fine, and they are also known as garbage bin of the cell because it clears all the waste and burnout of the cell. Now, what are the differences between plants and animal cell? As you can see, plant cells are present in plant but absent in animal cell. Obviously, animal cells are present in animal but absent in plant cell. They has a cell wall. I told you plant need the cell wall. Why? Because they live in harsh climatic condition. They have to tolerate the wind speed. They have to tolerate the high temperature. They have to tolerate the rainfall. Fine. So they are immovable also. They cannot go for the shelter. Fine. So they are living in harsh climatic condition. They need a protective layer which is known as cell wall. While in the case of animal, there is no cell wall present. Cell wall is absent. And there are centrosome with centriole. Plants has chloroplast. Fine. Chloroplast is there in the plastids. Plastids are the kitchen of the cell. Chloroplast is responsible for the production of food for doing photosynthesis as it have the chlorophyll, the green pigment chlorophyll. They have lysosomes. They do not have lysosome. They have central vacuole, means they have a very large vacuole, and the vacuole is are less in number but large in size. In here, the vacuoles are more in number but very small in size, and they have a flagella. They do not have a flagella. So these are the differences between plant and animal cell. So that's all. I hope you all have enjoyed the lecture. Thank you.